Rebekah Warren is with RSU's Native American Student Association, and she and Dr. Hugh Foley join us now. Good to have you kids with us.
Good to see you, Sam.
All right, let's start with you. I made the mistake a few minutes ago of saying you're a student. Boy, was I wrong. What do you do now?
So I will say that happens occasionally, so don't feel too bad. But I am a faculty member in the English and Humanities department here at the Claremore campus, and I teach primarily first-year writing. And I also am the faculty advisor for the Native American Student Association here, starting this past fall.
I can't let that go by. When you teach writing, do you teach them cursive?
Hopefully they know cursive, but some of them need to work on it just a bit, probably.
You know, don't run off, Dr. Foley. I'll be right with you.
I'm good.
I have a great interest in a lot of different magazines and publications. One of them, Cowboys and Indians. Mm-hmm. And in that publication, they have poets, they have songwriters, they have people that come along and just write down experiences. And it's really intriguing to see and separate the good writers from the bad, because the good ones tell a story.
Yes. They do tell a story, and they tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really what separates good and bad writing a lot of the time.
Dr. Foley, you're an advisor now. Is that accurate?
Well, I'll set this up for you. So for 25 years, I was the advisor to the Native American Student Association. Mm-hmm. And that went alongside me coordinating the Native American Studies courses. In the last year, I was made department head of Communications, Fine Arts, and Native American Studies. So Ms. Warren came to me in the fall saying, I'd love to volunteer and help you out with the Native American Student Association. And I said, not only can you help out, I think it's time for you to take this mantle and run with it. Because I guided this organization for so many years, and to be able to have a Native person as a role model and to do a lot of the work that we have to do with NASA, I think is really important. And so as a result of that, she took over the helm of the Native American Student Association in the fall. And so she's guiding that student group now. And then I continue my work in the Native American Studies courses, making sure they're staffed properly, offered on a proper rotation, and that sort of thing. So,
well, and in addition to that, you also teach.
Oh, yes.
I mean, you may say you're not, but you're also one heck of an advisor.
Well, thank you. We do have to advise students, and that is one of the things that I do. One of the things I've enjoyed the most over the last year is working with concurrent high school students at the Pryor campus, working with those young people who've not yet hit the college level, mm-hmm. but are taking concurrent courses so that they can get ahead in their college career. And that's been very rewarding for me, because when you work with high school students, they're not quite as cynical as our college students, it seems. And so that's been very rewarding. Advising also comes into play with regard to other faculty and other department heads, mm-hmm. and then our administrative element that needs advice on what to do with certain course curriculum ideas, or how we're going to fund new technological developments. So a lot of what I do is advice, but a lot of what I do is clicking the mouse. And that's what seems like we do a lot as department head, is approving all kinds of things.
I want to ask you both a question. I'd like a response from both of you. There was a time in this country when Native students were almost ashamed to admit it. And it seemed they were ashamed of their heritage in some respects, but they were also ashamed of trying to become assimilated into the full cultures. Does that still exist?
Well, whenever I stepped into this role as NASA advisor, I shared with my students, and I want to encourage all of my students, but particularly my students of Native heritage, that they're in a place where they are privileged to receive this education, because I think that universities were not necessarily made with Native students in mind initially. And so for them to have this opportunity, I want them to take full advantage of that. And it's not something that I take lightly, being an advisor for Native students, and also just a representative of my tribe, of the Cherokee Nation. I have students who have come to me for things like advising in career paths, things that they have worked on their senior projects, exploring Indigenous identity, and to have a faculty member that understands their background and their culture, I think is really invaluable to them.
Do many of them come to you lacking that feel or knowledge of their culture?
Yes, and NASA, we have opened up NASA to include students who do not have an enrolled citizenship of federally recognized tribes. We want all of our students to learn more about the great cultures that we have here in Oklahoma and in other areas. And so I let them know that even if they may not feel like they're a part of their community yet, they will feel part of a community through NASA by learning about their heritage.
I think that's great. Dr. Foley, it goes without saying you've got your finger on the pulse of the Indian population in Oklahoma, and especially in this part of the state. How many tribes, and this may be unfair, and I don't mean to embarrass you, but how many tribes do we have in Oklahoma?
Well, there's 39 federally recognized tribes in the state, or 39 tribes, 38 federally recognized. The Yuchi are not federally recognized. They are part of the Muskogee Creek Nation as the way history unfolded. So a lot of times people will say we have 39 tribes, but we really have 38 federally recognized ones. However, even that number is a misnomer because the Cheyenne and Arapaho are two tribes and considered one. The Wichita and affiliated tribes, the affiliated tribes are just merged in with the Wichita. So there are many more tribal backgrounds here in the state than the 38 federally recognized, or what we typically talk about as the 39. Aside from that, answering the earlier question as best I can regarding identity, something I worked on for a long time, and my son is Muskogee, and so that's really my closest connection family-wise to the world of Indian country. And we use Indian country as a term. We all know this as a result of the McGirt decision a couple of years ago. Right now, we are on state property, Rogers State University, but we are also on Cherokee Nation Reservation. And I think that sea change has caused a lot of people to re-examine who they are and where they are.
And take pride in it.
In addition to that, I think we've seen some movement in the media that is allowing people to see more reflections of themselves in the media. Reservation Dogs, that was just finished its third and final season. Part of that was shot up here last year. The film Killers of the Flower Moon, that brings all this attention to things that happened 100 years ago within the Osage Nation. The new Marvel series, Echo, that was completed down in working with Choctaw Nation. These are positive contemporary representations of Native people that fuel a positive sense of self-identity.
Which has got to be there.
Sure.
We got less than 30 seconds. I want to thank you both for coming in and bringing your expertise. And I'd like to have you again, and I'd like to have you for a longer session if that would be possible.
I'm sure we can both talk a long time. We're teachers.
Okay, then.
Wind us up, turn us loose.
All right, thank you again so much for coming. We're all out of time for this segment. We'll be back with more right after this.